of our fantastic beluga drainers, including Indy, who is up at the front of the glass, and Jenna, who's joining us at the very back part of the habitat. They will be introducing us to the 2 beluga whales who live here at the Vancouver Aquarium, including Keela and Aurora. Here at this facility, Keela and Aurora have been showing people how the lives of people and the lives of these whales are surprisingly connected. However, vocalizations like these are not native to the waters here in Vancouver. Shout out for me, everybody. Where could you travel to in Canada to see beluga whales in their natural habitats?
Arctic.
Oh, I heard Vancouver Island. That's a good guess, but we're going to need to go a little higher. What do we... Alaska? Okay, not bad. Not technically Canada, but that is definitely a part of the world where you can find beluga whales. And Alaska, to the Canadian North, to Russia, could include an area known as the Arctic. When I think of the word Arctic, I think of really cold temperatures. But beluga whales are found in these regions, including all of the places that I listed above. These unique marine mammals have bodies that are well adapted to survive in this world of ice and snow. In fact, the shape of a beluga whale's body is really shaped by those cold forces. Take a look at the tail flukes and pectoral flippers of the whales that we're working with today. And you might notice that Keela and Aurora have much smaller appendages than you might expect for such big marine mammals. Just like when we go outside and our fingers and toes get kind of frosty, belugas lose most of their heat from their flippers and flukes. That's perhaps why these animals have been shaped to have smaller flippers and tail flukes, so less body heat will be lost from exposure to the waters. Just because they're small does not mean that they are not powerful, however. And if you're in the splash zone, you might consider hiding your camera because it looks like Keela might show you just how strong her tail can be. How about a big round of applause for that wonderful splashy demonstration? Looks like some people are glad they brought their umbrellas. In their natural worlds, belugas would use those tails to power their bodies through the water and chase after lots of animals, including fishes and squids. All creatures who live in the Arctic need to eat in order to survive. And that's true for people who share their homes with beluga whales in the north part of our world. Canada's Inuit have lived in the far north part of this country for at least 5,000 years. And sharing homes with beluga whales, many people have discovered that these animals are an important source of vitamins and nutrients. Belugas are covered in thick layers of flabby fat called blubber, as you can certainly see on Keela's body in the center of the exhibit, and on Aurora as she wiggles and jiggles at the back part of this habitat. Those layers of flabby fat are packed with important things like the vitamins that you get from dark green vegetables or citrus fruits in warmer parts of the world. You might be surprised to learn that some people hunt for beluga whales. But the truth is, belugas are facing a much bigger challenge from people who live far further away. People here in Vancouver and other large southern cities are actually causing some big changes in Canada's Arctic. How could disappearing sea ice caused by climate change impact beluga whales and the ways that they live? One thing to consider when you look at Keela and Aurora's bodies is that their mouths are very powerful, and that these creatures would be excellent hunters in their natural homes. Many people don't realize, however, that belugas and other marine predators in the Arctic often do their hunting right underneath that layer of sea ice, where many fishes will rest, feed, and reproduce. The underside of sea ice can be a rich place for these animals to turn up delicious food items with their powerful lips and teeth. And unfortunately, if that sea ice continues to disappear at the rate that we've seen in recent years, we could find ourselves in a situation where very little of Canada's Arctic is covered by ice at all. Beluga whales need this region in order to get the food that they need, and it's our hope that scientists will continue to study these marine mammals in this unique part of the world to see how these changes are affecting their wild populations. However, belugas are also found in another more southern part of Canada. It's not Vancouver Island, as one visitor suggested, but it is a place that might surprise you. How many people have been to the St. Lawrence River in eastern Canada? There are beluga whales that travel in that river. Accessible via Ontario and Quebec, the belugas in the St. Lawrence are not really a source of food value to any people in that part of the world, but they are a source of economic value to some people who live in Canada. That's because the whale watching industry gives many people the opportunity to see these whales in this part of the world. Imagine being out in their natural habitat and catching a glimpse of some of the behaviors that Keela and Aurora have shown to us today. It would be an unforgettable experience, and is for many people who visit that part of Canada. Going to the St. Lawrence River and observing beluga whales can also yield important scientific data. Notice how Keela, who's closer to the front of the glass, has a very smooth back, while Aurora's back is a little bit bumpier. Differences in texture, shape, and color like this can help us to tell the belugas in the St. Lawrence apart. Because you don't have to fight with sea ice to go to observe those animals, these belugas are probably better understood than many of their cousins in the north. Sadly, the St. Lawrence beluga whales are also facing different problems. One issue for them is caused by people in large cities, and it starts with the letter P. Ladies and gentlemen, it's pollution. I'm afraid you are correct. Chemicals and toxins can enter the St. Lawrence River and lead to big problems for large predators like beluga whales. And their blubber has had to be treated like biohazardous waste as a result of the accumulation of chemicals made by people. Beluga whales, however, are also known to go into shallow rivers and estuaries, and in the St. Lawrence, they could be facing danger from noise pollution as well. Surprisingly, these animals can go to parts of the St. Lawrence where their bellies rest directly on the bottom, as Keela just showed to us here in this part of the exhibit. A beluga belly would stir up lots of sand and mud and sediment, making the water murky. These animals probably use sound to hear where one another are in this region, right here. Ladies and gentlemen, can we make a bit of noise for these two whales? That was a wonderful vocal that she produces vocalizations over and over and over again and can use them to contact other animals. Here at the Vancouver Aquarium, we were then able to use this research to listen for these so-called contact calls in the St. Lawrence River, in the north part of Manitoba, and this summer, we're going to be looking for them in the Arctic as well. Hopefully, understanding that belugas need sound to contact one another will help us to better protect them from the threat of boat traffic and other forms of noise pollution. Research like this is only possible because of the amazing bond of trust that the whales share with their trainers.
Looking for any cuts or scrapes, making sure she's nice and healthy. From body layouts such as these, we can also go one step further and participate in what we call advanced husbandry. These include behaviors like voluntary blood draws, urine samples, even ultrasounds, to make sure that these animals are not only healthy on the inside, but they're healthy on the outside too. It's only through our relationship that we are able to do all of this. Back to you, Derek.
Thank you very much, Jenna, and thank you, Aurora. Working with beluga whales like Keela and Aurora is a unique opportunity for researchers who want to study these animals over long periods, as well as trainers like Jenna and Indy who get to spend time with them on a daily basis, giving them the best possible health care. However, I think that you'll also agree that seeing belugas up close is a unique opportunity for over time, I grew to love these animals, and that led me to my career path, helping to educate people about these amazing marine mammals. I'm really grateful to my dad for the time that we spent here at the Vancouver Aquarium, and I hope that all of you will cherish your time observing Keela and Aurora here at this facility. It's always my hope that our show might inspire people like you to think of some changes, small changes that you might make to your lives that could make life better for these incredible marine mammals in their natural habitat. Perhaps that means understanding how climate change can impact creatures that live in Arctic ice. And maybe you might even be inspired to brainstorm some bigger, more beluga-sized shifts that you could make to reduce your energy use and our contribution to this phenomenon. However, I also hope that you will leave with a better understanding of how the lives of people and the lives of beluga whales are so surprisingly connected. And to celebrate that connection, I have a feeling that some more people in our splash zone might be getting to know Keela's tale. Hide your cameras. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I think that a taste of the Arctic might be continuing to come your way. Vancouver, put your hands together for everyone who has made today's program possible, including those great folks in the splash zone who might still be getting more. And even if you didn't get a taste of the Arctic, I hope you've learned something new about these incredible marine mammals. On behalf of myself, marine mammal trainers Jenna and Indy, and of course, Keela and Aurora, the beluga whales living here at the Vancouver Aquarium, thank you for coming out to learn about these unique Arctic marine mammals, and enjoy the rest of your visit to the Vancouver Aquarium on our 58th birthday.